Radio.
Thalmor Radio.
Welcome, everyone, to the February 12th episode of Thalmor Radio. I am your host, Mr. Thalmor Big Man, and I got some things to talk about. There's been a couple of big events that have happened, primarily Oasis hitting KT last night, but also some logs relevant to the past Global War release. And I think they're kind of damning. And I'm gonna get into that. I think there's some nuance, but I'll get into that. I'm also going to have Jeric on in about an hour to discuss what I've been hearing about the Commonwealth having internal issues. So let's go ahead and hop right into this. The war has started at a very inconvenient time. Thankfully, it's worked out, but it could have went very badly because I live in Kentucky, and my part of Kentucky was hit with an ice storm from about Wednesday to Thursday. And we did lose power. It came on after a couple hours, went off again, came back on, went off again, came back on, and then stayed on. But the county was saying, hey, prepare for 3 days without power, and if you live in the country, more than 3 days. So I was like, oh shit. My family, we talked about getting like a hotel in town, except they don't have generators. We thought they did, they don't. So it's like, okay, I guess we're just going to stay here and hopefully not freeze. But it worked out because the power didn't go out too much. It went out like in the middle of the night, but we were all sleeping anyways. So it all worked out. And it's very good that it worked out because, Thursday, I didn't take a shower because I didn't want to get all in the shower and get all lathered up. Ooh. And then the power goes out and I'm sitting there covered wet and covered in soap like a douchebag. So once the power came back on later that night and stayed on, I took my shower, came out of the shower to Zig laughing at me, sending me a text message saying, me and Arctic are doing a show because your line is getting rolled. So I checked Discord. There were like 5 different pings from my server, from KT server, saying we're getting hit. Do all this. So that was pretty based. I tend to find out about wars at the worst time. I know there was a global in 2018. I think it was Islamic Crusade, and I found out about that one like as I was getting out of church, like Sunday morning or something. So I sometimes I find about these wars at very inconvenient times. Thankfully, all worked out. Power stayed on. I haven't heard of any deaths from the bad weather. I think most people have their power back on now. They are giving watches and warnings for bad weather next week, though. So we'll see how that goes. Will I be able to go to the liquor store and get more bourbon in time? We will see. I hope I can. It's not guaranteed. And so that's about it for my internal stuff. Not much to talk about. I'm going to try to have Jeric on at 11. I'm hoping to having any guests on to talk about the war. But now let's talk about politics and war. So Shifty posted some logs last night that, let's see, I think it was SNN, something about Phoenix. I don't remember the title of it, but that's fine. And it's the leaders of hedge money, I believe. So Akiro's in them. Dennison appears for 2 messages. I think there's some Guardian people. Left Behind's in them. And yes, thank you, whoever that is, Mr. C, Order of the Phoenix. And I think they're kind of compelling. And I think they basically prove what TSTKR have been saying about these people are planning to hit us. They want to hit us. And I didn't find out about these logs. I didn't see them until like December. And if I knew about them beforehand, I would probably have been singing a different tune throughout the war. But yeah, it does seem like there was actually plans to hit them. And I did see a forum thread. I did read replies from like hedge people in regards to the thread. And The thing I want to say is that like wars have been fought based on logs that have a lot fewer images, a lot fewer people, and a lot less being said. There was a war KT fought against Caster's Alliance Assassin Order back in like January of 2018, in which it was basically like two screenshots, and Caster said, "Oh, and if you do this, we'll probably hit KT too," or something like that. Something I don't remember. It's been 3 years, but like we hit them over that along with Bad Company. So yeah, wars have been fought for less. Now, if you're like really staunchly pro your community, you probably don't give a shit. KT's kind of unconventional and apolitical, so I kind of have the freedom to try to be a cuck fence sitter middleman. But like, if you're a member of Rose and you've been a member of Rose for a couple of years, like you're probably not going to care about the leaks. Like, if you're a member of Hedge, you probably don't care about the leaks. You know, um, I mean, I guess if you're like a TSTKR leader, you're happy they're out there, but and I know there's been some slap fighting. I've seen Partisan and Kegos go at it at Ron. Obviously, there's been some back and forth on the forums. And what Sig said, we won the war. Like the lines have already been drawn. Like my mind can be influenced because I view myself as being kind of apolitical, but I'm a nobody. It doesn't really matter what I think. So yeah, partisan for a retired guy, Partisan's gone pretty hard lately. It's been fun to watch. Um, okay, I think who wants to say something about the logs? I think usually I wait until after I go through all my stuff before I unmute people, but the situation's a bit different tonight. So does anybody want to talk about the logs that can be unmuted? I actually do want Phoenix on, yeah, but I'll have him on last. Not the Rebelman says the only question is what new things did the logs reveal? Answer is nothing. Everything was admitted by SRD. Yeah, I've seen that be said. That's probably compelling. Yeah. Classic Sphinx. Graves says the only thing I see new from the screenshot is some additional confirmation that the only aggressor in the coalition, Roselaw, didn't have a treaty, offensive or defensive. But like again, wars have been fought with a lot less information in them. The identity of the hedge money leader. Yeah, Avatar. I think that's probably right. But again, it probably doesn't really matter though. All right, no one is volunteering to come on. So unmute Phoenix. I want to hear his take. How does this change the identity of the secret HM leader? I know of people getting whipped for saying. Phoenix is here. I just checked. Okay, Phoenix. Sig says you're unmuted. He had to run for a sec. Okay, well I'll come back to that then. Tyrion says.
Oh.
Okay. You there, Phoenix? Shifty, you there?
Shifty.
Okay,
yes, I'm here.
Okay, Zig, what was you going to say?
What was I gonna say?
Yeah, you,
I
you
was just
sound
gonna
like you're
whine
really
about
raring to go.
I was just gonna whine about how Grumpy seems to consistently get painted with this coalition brush as if we're one homogeneous coalition of three different blocks and all have the same exact ideas.
Whine away.
That was it. I've been whining about that all day, and I think they finally got my point that we Grumpy don't care. Grumpy don't follow Swamp. Grumpy don't follow Rose. We have our own thoughts. That's why we're the most upfront and honest people of all time.
Gotcha. Shifty, you have anything to say about the hedge log leaks? All right. So.
Oh, sorry about that. What do you call it? Yeah, I mean, I just kept telling everybody, just it's. Remember the whole thing with Phoenix? I was just like, it's Kigaz, or Curio, and I'm like, I kept saying Dr. Rush, but it's just Guardians. Vanek. I was like, it's pretty obvious to figure out who it is. As far as that whole thing, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like again, like with the prior IQ thing. Oh, was MPO really going to join in? Did they really want to kick people out of the game? Yeah, they did. Like, this is one of those where you can have the logs out, you can have all the evidence in the world, but one side's always just going to keep denying it and saying, no, that's wrong. That wasn't the actual CB, So there's always going to be the whole, even if the evidence is up front, no, that's not the narrative. So it's going to lead to even more arguments. And it's probably not going to die down until probably like another global war from now or two.
Gotcha. All right. So now it's time to talk about the Oasis KT war. Ooh. So, what are we calling this war? First off, what's a good name? I'm a simple person. Oasis KT war works for me, but that's not dramatic. So what's a different name? Me and I think like it was either Pasky or Krampus. We all thought Wet and Wild in Oasis was a good name. Ash Dennison. Oasis in the Holy Land. That works with the themes, yeah. That's something we can talk about later, I guess. So, imagine though, like you're out of the shower, you're all dried up, you put your clothes on, you check your phone, and your friend is laughing at you because you got hit. Your alliance got hit. So you don't have internet, so you have to go next door to use the neighbor's computer to respond to the bullshit. And like it was crazy. But I sat down and I declared 5 wars and I did my shit posting, which was really fun. And so yeah, so the war started. For some reason, I'm the only KT member in Guardians Discord, and I had Dr. Rush and the Penguin profile picture guy, JT something. They were like, Thalmor, what's going on? And I explained it like this. So, Bad Bye, a KT member, hit TI, and that was okay. But then he hit TI again, and I believe he hit a guy who was like getting raided by other people, and it was an inactive. And so that was too much. TI was referred to as a shitty bloated micro or something like that. And then the entire 600-man block declares on us. It was something like that. Bring Tyrion on the show? Sure, I'll bring Tyrion on. Tyrion, you up to voice chatting? I believe Tyrion's only voice chatted once, and that was during that was during the TI bonus episode last year. All right, so Zig posted a picture of a man in an eye patch. That's Majima from the Yakuza games, coming out of a sewer grate. That actually is KT. There's a number of our members who are pretty quiet and inactive, but they spring to life when a war happens. Like they come out from under the sewers, they come out of caves, they parachute out of planes. Like they all show up to fight. But when they're not, but they're quiet the rest of the time. But that's okay.
And how apt is it that the war was started by Majima Goro.
Yeah, it really is. Oh man!
Basically coming out of nowhere and randomly attacking, and it's going to end the same way.
The bye-bye everywhere system. I remember in Global War 14 hitting a month inactive MPO person for 1 man wars, and he came online to fight. Oh wow. Well, yeah, I mean, bots typically do have triggers that will activate when certain conditions are met, so that makes sense, Grave. All of our off-season wars are from Shadow. This is basically another the coal mines war for us. Don't insult the coal mines like that. They don't deserve that. Okay, so they blitzed us yesterday. It was a pretty shitty blitz. I had to go on a voice chat last night and tell people I had full defense slots, and it took my friends in Oasis, Soup and Kaz and someone else, had to attack me because I was left alone. And yeah, Grave. Grave was the third guy. And like, I think Shifty was left alone for a while. Changeup was dunking on them, and Ron. Changeup was like, "Hey, Oasis, you missed a spot," and it was just a full list of people with open slots. It was a pretty bad blitz. I'm guessing what happened, and this actually makes sense. I'm making fun of them, but it makes sense. They probably just said KT has violated the NAP. They're being shitheads. Go attack them. And that's kind of cringe, but it makes sense because Oasis is so large, and I don't think they really perceive KT as like a big threat, that they were comfortable doing something like that. Because like to effectively uppercut us in the opening stage of this war, you don't need all this coordination. You can just tell your 600 people go do this, and you know, TI and TFP, they do have competent people in them who can follow orders. They attacked. And yeah, they've uppercutted us. You know, we're losing lots of infra. I think they've done 2 billion in damage to. When I checked the stats earlier today, it was like 600 million to 1.7 billion. So that's I mean, yeah, they've ganked us.
That most of that damage is probably me because I got 3,500. I'm like the only one with 3,500.
You might be the largest we had then, Shifty. I had 2,700.
Yeah, because I think I beat out Dryad, I think, by like 100 infra.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Dennison says, "Yo, did you see Kyle nuke that 5K infra city?" Yes, I did, and that rat bastard got to it before I could. And I'm angry about it. Did like 200 million in damage. I fired off 2 nukes. They both landed. I fired 3 missiles. 1 landed. So I'm doing my damage.
I already fired 4, 3 landed. I fired 1 nuke, it landed. So for me, it's gonna be like I'm not gonna start doing extra damage till like probably around round 4, round 5, because just all that infra. But I don't sell the infra off, so it's like, oh.
Yeah, I'm just taking my lookings myself. There's no point in decomming infra. Yang says fortifying against a zeroed guy. This did happen. Horsecock declared on Tyrion and had no military, and Tyrion did a ground battle and then fortified. Tyrion, why did you fortify? Tyrion says, I was built up to hit Dryad, but he was out by the time I woke up. Tyrion, why did you fortify against someone with no military? Okay. Yeah, he's not. Okay, now he's typing. 2 ice maps. Okay. All right. So, the war's going on. Let me set my voice chat to voice activity instead of push to talk, and I'll look over the 2 form threads, and then we'll and then we'll probably. Well, I know I'll unmute people and we can talk about the war some. Okay, how do I sound? My thing is orange, and probably shouldn't be orange. I'm fine. Okay, I don't. Okay, now it's green. So let me go check on these forum threads real quick. So last night, Tyrion posted their declaration of war. Okay, and Horsecock he posted our it's a dual DOE and DOW. Bye did nothing wrong, and it's a really good declaration of war. This is silly. It has 14 upvotes and 9 downvotes. People are downvoting it. This is way better than your all's declaration of war. Okay, let me go back to NAP violation. Here, this is the declaration of war. I'll keep this short and sweet. Knights Templar had a member continue to attack Oasis members. Their government was asked to peace the wars or boot the member. This time this member hit us, they countered our counters. Or last time this member hit us, they countered our counters. This was not an isolated incident. The KT government instead stands by the actions of this member to raid us continually and is in violation of the NAP. Oasis has sent a military response towards KT and recognizes hostilities towards us. Okay, that's fine. That's a declaration of, well, no, a recognition of hostilities. That's a recognition of hostilities. It lists the motivations. It lists the reasoning. It gets the job done. However, it's also really bland and boring. There's not a flag. There's no jokes. There's no memes. It's very dry, and I was disappointed. This is the first time Oasis is doing something together as a block, and they couldn't even put a flag in. But whatever. I like dry, short things. And so Horsecock, like I'm not going to read it because it's longer, but like it's got a Warhammer 40k joke up top. It's got a really pretty flag. It's got a few paragraphs. It's got a few jokes. Thanks to Titfap, KT is officially out of the NAP. Rejoice and praise the Lord. It's got a memory meme at the bottom. Like, it's a very nice declaration of war. And yet, like, Tyrion's thing gets like 40 upvotes, and Horsecock's things gets almost as equal downvotes as upvotes, and that's cringe. But I said this last night. KT man, bad, great way to get upvotes. But I digress. Romana, KT based edition is back. Yes. So, where's that going with that? I don't even remember, but yeah. Oh, I want to do Horsecock's thread. The narrative, the official KT narrative is basically, it's basically what I said last night, which was cry harder. Like, yeah, we're fighting, I guess. Fuck you. See you in the battlefield. There is no real attempt at diplomacy. I think Horsecock in that thread is kind of laughing at the notion. But I am stupid. I have tried to form an FA response against the TI accusations. So I will now try to argue that it was in fact Oasis that violated the NAP. Let's see here. Where's my papers? Got my papers here. All right. So bye-bye rated TI. Okay. So yeah, when someone attacks you, you can defend yourself. That's like FA. That's not even FA 101. That's FA kindergarten. And so bye-bye was countered. There was the incident with the one counter coming late, and then KT countered that guy. But that was whatever. It got resolved however it did. Everything was fine. And then Tyrion, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Bye-bye attacked Fleck again or something, or attacked some Oasis members. Yeah, so more incidents. Okay. Now, the response to this was to blitz us and attack us. Just try to just attack all of KT, mobilize the block, post a forum thread, and okay, whatever. I think that's far more egregious than what Bye-bye did. Because, like, there's this concept of a proportional force. So, like, if you're out at Walmart getting, what do you get from Walmart? I don't. Cheerios. You're getting Cheerios from Walmart. And some guy comes and he's really mad and he thinks that your shirt looks dumb. So he slaps you upside the head. You can't pull out your Glock and blow his brains out. Although that would be base. You can't do that and then claim using fear for your life because it was just a slap upside the head. Right? And like even in international law, like if a country blows up a ship, they can't just like carpet bomb their capital. You know, there's a concept of proportional force. And I think it is TI who's in violation of this. Now, yes, okay, you can make the argument KT violated the NAP, whatever. We did have a raider, Dennison didn't rein him in, fine. But the escalation to having this whole block come down on us goes against the idea of proportional force. There were many other ways TI could have shut this down. They could have, not just even TI, if Bye-Bye was attacking other members of Oasis, they could have formed, you know, a 3-man anti-raid party and stack Bye-Bye and stop him, you know, or the Immortals or whoever felt like it was most slighted, they could have went in by themselves and attacked KT or whatever, not bring the whole block in. So I think, you know, yeah, okay, you can make the argument Bye-Bye broke the NAP, but it is a far more egregious slight to then declare for this big massive block to declare on this much smaller alliance by itself. And so I think by that way is actually Oasis that violated the NAP. All right. So I was focusing on this argument, so I wasn't reading chat. I will scroll up and read chat now. Let's see here. See, Not the Rebel Man says, people are looking at this as a violation of the NAP in both threads. That's why y'all got downvoted and they upvoted. Yeah. Yeah, they have the FA support there. Ramona, what do you even expect them to do from... Okay. Tyrion, right, this isn't where we wanted. Papers, please. Program, I expect great things from both Thalmor and Lord Tyrion. No FA discussion. I'm okay with having people come on and talk. Avatar says, yet is counting the radar. Yang says, there's nothing literally stopping you. Like I said, I'm going through the backlog of chat here because I was focusing on my ridiculous argument. Lord Tyrion, would we have been allowed to cycle base him? No, KT would consider those new wars and counter us, so they'd allow this dude to keep rebuilding, hitting us until it's tough shit. So if your government won't let us defend ourselves, then the government is the problem. Okay. Yang says, morals. Zig, what are you against dueling? Kaz has posted a GIF of people. I hate it when people do that. When these TikTokers and these YouTubers go out and create trouble, that always triggers me. Panky says, I have to argue with that Thalmor. If anyone destroys a U.S. ship, the country is erased. True, but that's a unique example. Kaz, don't harbor repeat offender, simple as that. Tyrion, read my last comment, Thalmor. We wouldn't stop him without KT continuing to counter. KT is the victim, come on. He doesn't like our Muslim sand. Okay. So, okay. All right. Thank you for putting up with my reading of the back chat. Tyrion, how many times did you guys counter Bye-Bye? Was it just the once? Did you counter him a second time? And did we counter those? Because the entire reason why we countered the one counter was because it was days late and it was treated as a separate incident. Did we counter for Bye-Bye like twice or something? Or was it just once? Because, I mean, the first time we countered you guys, it wasn't even a counter. The one guy was declaring so late, it was a separate incident. I don't consider it a separate incident. Okay. But even then, it's one example. You really jumped the gun with this here. and so kick his ass. When we had Esquire Templar, and a member of ET raided someone, and they were like, "Get this guy off of us," we would say, "Just counter him," because that's the only way a raider can learn who to raid and not raid. And you brought Eclipse into counter. I'm not aware of Eclipse interfering. That's interesting. Based Eclipse. Graybird, that's in relation to like plotting being used as a CB. Maybe we should hold trials before wars. That'd be interesting. Probably wouldn't work though. I mean, Thalmor, what they mean is that KT wouldn't have allowed them to slap. You don't know that. You understand why they were countered the first time, because the guy declared really late separate incident. I believe all the wars were already like done by the time he countered, which is why it was considered a separate incident. You have no basis to assume that you guys wouldn't have been allowed to counter. They said the president can't hit him if no active wars were going on. So then, if you think that, then why didn't you counter him with the active wars? Surely to goodness, between 600 people, you can get something going on between them. I went to psychopatient for months. Well, tough shit. You don't get to. Well, no, you can't psych. You want us to kick him. Do you want us to like? Do you want his head too while we're at it? I think because the KT government is the one causing problems. I will sacrifice my head for bye-bye. Tyrion, so he's allowed to rebuild and keep coming for seconds. We just have to keep taking it. I have explicitly stated, Tyrion, if he's raiding you guys, counter him. That is completely reasonable. The entire reason why the counter on Babai was countered was because it came in so late, like days, all of the wars were finished. And you're using this isolated incident to justify, oh, well, we couldn't attack him because you guys would just counter us. Why should we let him keep rebuilding? That's stupid. If he wasn't messing with you guys, of course he could rebuild. But the second he attacked you guys again, you could have rebuilt. I pronounce it bye-bye, nobody. It might be pronounced differently.
I pronounce it bye-bye.
Tyrion, or just not have shit FA and handle your members.
I was gonna say like at least our FA doesn't leave a block in the middle of a war.
Let's see here. All right, so I think it's kind of the end of the conversation. I don't think I'm okay with to keep discussing this with Tyrion, but I don't think it's going to go much of anywhere. Because now he's just defaulting to, oh, we'll just do FA better. And it's like, okay. Well. Anyone else want to come on and discuss this? Let's see, 25 minutes. Let's see, Jeric comes on in 25 minutes, but I can still yap on about something until then. That's fine. I'm sure I can find something. Discuss KT officially breaking the nap. Well, like I've already laid out how Oasis actually broke the nap, so. Although I believe the official KT position is tough shit, going by what Horsecock's thread was. Mr. C, the reason keeps mentioning FA is because you are saying Reno will hit all of KT for one raid. You want to know the real hot take, Mr. C? I think the big reason why y'all came in was because TI got called a bloated micro, or shitty bloated micro, or whatever the words were. Because like back when a week or so ago, when the first incident with Babai happened and it didn't go anywhere, like everything seemed perfectly fine. And the difference between now and then is Ti got called a shitty bloated micro. Not the Rebel Man. No, KT snap with Oasis is broken. Yes, KT broke the snap with the rest of the game, though. No. Truly, the 200 IQ thing to do would be, now that we've broken the nap, all alliances from every side must now declare on us. Arian says, nah, that one there was a dumb technicality of a late counter, but when he was allowed to come back and the government didn't want to do anything, that was the difference. So, like, why not just counter Bye-Bye? Though. He was slotted by other AAs, then problem solved. He was attacking the entire game? Okay. While I'm doing in the first place? For fun, I guess. Why would KT not get rid of him? Answer, why should we kick a member, an active member, who listens to Gov? Why is it worth the headache? Because he's one of us. Because he's a member of KT. And he listens to orders, and he's active, he knows how to fight. So the Gov was good with him raiding us? Well, I mean, you know the story. Dennison didn't seem to rein him in. It's also what Yang says. You people saying this means that KD would keep him out of spot. When I heard that they wanted us to get rid of Babai, that did trigger me a little bit, because I don't like that. That's foreign people interfering with internal stuff. So is the government not liable then? I think it is a massive jump to then say, okay, well, we just have to burn this whole alliance then.
See, if Bad Boy would have been kicked, then a year later he would have built up nukes, asked Thalmor who wants to get nuked, and then he would have just nuked Immortals anyway.
Because he's a liability to your whole alliance. KT is a war alliance. We enjoy fighting wars. If the argument you're going to make is you should kick this guy because he's going to get you in wars, that's not a deterrent to us. And I think one distinction to make here is that, KT is not a conventional alliance. We're not like ARG, but like we're different. So it doesn't matter to us if we go to a war. It doesn't matter to us if we suffer less economic damage. Like for us players, the war stuff is fun to us. It's where we derive most of our enjoyment from. And any economic development is just a means to an end to the same goal. But whatever. And Tyrion says, we were first told to boot the person KT deemed to be inactive. I would like to know how that was phrased. If it was like, well, we don't want him raided to kick him. And that's fine. This was obviously what KT wanted. It's no skin off our back. Yeah, pretty much like that. And see, that's just friendly advice. Like, you don't want this inactive guy to be a target, like, get rid of him. Meanwhile, you're pissy at us because you don't have the balls to counter Babai, and you're like, oh, we'll get rid of him because he's causing troubles. Even though he's a good member, get rid of him. It's like, okay, whatever. Tyrion says no because I knew countering him would catch more counters again. Whatever. Judas, I'm not sure what it is you're looking to hear. Then honestly, we told you to control him. You did. We wanted to give him multiple rounds, and that's meant with those would be countered. We said kick him because he won't stop. You refuse. Why do we just have to accept it? I guess you don't have to, but like I said, it is a much bigger jump for this whole block to come in on us than what Bye-Bye did. And again, the whole point. It seems the point we're just stuck on is that you guys thought we would have countered for Bye-Bye. And I think that's completely wrong. But whatever. People want James unmuted. Go ahead and unmute James, if he's open to talking. Did Innocent say that we would? I guarantee, well, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in what Innocent said. Because I don't think you guys have any reason to think that we would have countered for Bye-Bye. The other round had the circumstances of the other round, from my understanding. Okay, here's what happened. Bye-Bye rated a TI member. Okay. TI told people to counter. 2 people did. And then by the time I believe all 3 wars were over, the 3rd counter come in. It was like days late. KT countered because that was treated as a separate incident because the wars were over and the guy came in super late. And that whole incident is being used as an excuse, like as to why they wouldn't have been allowed to hit Bye-Bye again. And I think that's a wrong analysis. If they consider our last count invalid, you have felt our counters were invalid when we hit him. I don't know if that's true. Is James unmuted? Yeah, he is. What's up, James? You want to talk?
I don't know. I mean, there's not much to talk about. It's not. It's not like we don't like you guys. It's just kind of, what more are we supposed to do? It feels like we have exhausted all of our options here.
Well, and I'll come out and say that I don't think there's much to talk about either. I think we kind of went over everything. I think I went over with Tyrion, and I also want to know. I feel the same way. I'm talking mad shit. I'm going hard as I usually go. But like, I don't really give a shit about any of this. It's a game. I still like you guys. I still think have decent people in them. I still like Tyrion. This is just part of the game.
And what I will say is to what you were saying before, where you were like, we're buckled down for a long fight. This is not going to be like that because as far as we're aware, nobody's coming to your side or anything. The Eclipse and TC are coming in, so I mean, this doesn't have to be something like that. This doesn't have to be a long, drawn out affair. It's just a disagreement going on. It's why our thing was a recognition of hostilities and not really a declaration of war and crap like that. There's no. It's war. It's the game. Yay.
Sure, TFP changed their flag though. Like that's going pretty hard. That's like, yeah, this is a war. We're doing this.
Oh, did they? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it's the one with the red with the hanging guy. And James, why do you think this is going to be a short war for?
Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
There's peace terms. I want James to mail us a New Jersey pastrami sandwich or an Italian combo sandwich.
That would be pretty based. I would help facilitate that transaction if I can. I don't think
Be
there's
like-
gonna be any peace terms at the end of this stuff. I think it'll be a white peace.
It'd be like, hey, get a load of this sub.
Mr. C says, if KT were smart, they'd keep it short, but they aren't. Okay there, buddy.
Oh, just ignore him. Mr. C, behave yourself, child. Calm your tits.
Daddy James gonna get you. Just like he got my mom.
Oh, I got your mom good last night, bro. That was delicious.
Oh, man.
But my apologies for disappearing, Thalmoria. I ran out of weed.
It's fine. Is it legal in Jersey?
It was voted legal, but it hasn't been legalized technically yet.
Gotcha. In fucking South Dakota, they had a vote for it, and it passed, but then the judge just threw it out, and that's stupid.
Well, that's because there's not enough people that live out there to understand what's going on.
True.
I mean, I'm sure all 5 people who live in North Dakota that saw that reacted very sadly to it.
So
But,
James, was that a
yeah.
consensus in over there in TI or the Oasis that you all were very confident that if Babai raided and you guys countered, we would have countered those counters?
But that was what we were told. I mean, especially what happened after the first incident, where it wasn't days later. The war is expired, and the third war came in like 2 or 3 hours or 5 hours later. So I mean, the war came in days after the original war was declared, but this is a repeat offender. You know, generally people that raid us constantly like that, you know, they get a couple wars. They don't get just one round.
So, if Babai attacked you guys again, why not slot him? And who told you guys that we would have countered any counters? Did Innocent say that?
I'm quite sure it was him that said it, but I was not the one that spoke to him.
Okay, Dennison, did you say that? Several people are typing.
Oh, is he here? He never responded to my South Jersey is third best Jersey comment. It's a dick move on his part.
What's number 1 and number 2? North and Central?
Well, number 1 is clearly Central, and number 2 is North.
How long does it take to get from a place in North Jersey to Manhattan exactly?
Well, what time of day are you traveling? Because if it's in the morning, it'll take you 2 hours to get anywhere near the city.
You're leaving at 5 p.m.
Yeah, it's the middle of rush hour, which backs up the traffic everywhere. So yeah, still probably 2 hours.
Gotcha.
I live in Central Jersey, and it takes me 2.5 hours to get to Cape May, which is at the bottom of the state, and I live in the middle.
I asked because while I was watching The Sopranos, I would pull up Google Earth to try and figure out where everyone's going, how long would it take to drive from this to there. I calculated, I got the address of Tony Soprano's house and then the address of the Bada Bing, and I tried to figure out how long would it take to drive there, because for some reason I was interested in the daily commutes of these mobsters. And so I would calculate, okay, he's going to New York to meet with Johnny Sack. How far away is that?
That's a long ass drive, bro. And they would be meeting in Brooklyn, no less. So that's from North Jersey to Brooklyn. That's a solid hour and a half because you have to go through Manhattan.
Gotcha.
But how many miles is that though? Because in LA, an hour and a half can be literally just 11 miles.
Oh, it's not far. It's probably actually only 5 or 6 miles, but you have to go.
Wow.
You have to go into Manhattan, and then you have to go down, and you have to take a bridge across to Brooklyn at some point. So you either have to go through like Queens or some other ridiculous shit. You know, it's not an easy trip. So
Wait,
they went out of their way for that.
if it's an hour and a half and it's only 5 miles, why not just walk it? You'd probably be faster.
Because you can't walk across the bridge into New York.
They don't have like a pedestrian bridge?
No, this is New York and New Jersey. We don't do that here.
What if you like canoe or swim over, like in Skyrim or
You would never want to swim in the Hudson or the East River. That's disgusting. You'd come out with a third hand growing out of your asshole.
Oh, can you eat the fish from the Hudson?
No, don't do that.
Oh,
You can eat them from the bay, but not from the actual river.
oh, man.
See, and that's alien to me because where I live in Kentucky, if I pull up Google Earth and want to drive, 30 miles, like that takes me no time at all. But it seems like up there around North Jersey and all that urban space, it seems like it takes a lot longer to get around in that sort of space.
Yeah, man, because the traffic here is awful and the roads are not built to handle the amount of traffic on them.
Yeah, gotcha. So once again, rural places, we win.
No, you don't. There's literally nothing there. Your life sucks and is very boring.
Hey, there's lots of opioids, okay?
You host this show from the middle of a field, god damn it.
So you can kill people and no one can hear the screams. That is, well, I mean, no one could probably hear the screams in New York half the time anyways either.
No, that's what we have the Pine Lands for. Dennison knows all about those.
Dennison, I think he checked out. He didn't answer my question if he told you guys that he would counter or not. Because if he did, that would undermine my whole entire argument, and I would have to concede. But he won't say. So
I don't think even if he did admit it that you would wave the flag anyway because you just enjoy being the devil's advocate, you bastard.
it is fun. Panky and voice talking. Yes, Panky. If you want Thalmorite, just ask for it. Thalmorites are for fans of the show, and you can get it, but just by asking. And that goes for anyone else who wants it as well. The bonus to being a Thalmorite is that your name is blue, and you get the pings for special things. See, so it's 10:54. I'm pretty much done talking about the war now. I don't think there's anything else to really go over.
I guess the real question is, why can't you pump your own gas in Jersey?
It creates jobs, god damn it.
Oh.
There's one little tiny gas station, and it's one little tiny town, like 30 minutes away, and they have a guy who will pump your gas station, and it's the only gas station I know in the state that does that, and it's pretty cool.
Does it make you feel all warm and squishy inside when he fills your tank?
It really does. It makes me feel.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Just all over. Knowing I'm getting filled.
Hearing that liquid slosh around.
From that long, just metal rod, it's great. I like the smell of petrol too. I know people who are like, it smells bad, and I'm thinking, no, I like huffing gas.
Better than opioids.
That is true. One kills your brain, one kills your
Not better than sniffing glue.
Okay, is Jeric here yet? No, he's probably still. Oh, he is here. Jeric, are you ready to come on, bud? I see you're in chat there. Oh, I heard some typing.
Yo.
Do you think you can refrain from typing as I talk to you?
It didn't work. It didn't. I know it didn't work. I ended up going the wrong way. It's dead.
What the fuck? What's happening?
You found your tablet?
Yo.
Nice laptop. It's dead.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Alright, so basically, when I'm not talking, I'm going to have to mute my mic because I have a 3-year-old sitting next to me who decides to be very loud.
Yeah, the 3-year-olds are very loud. I understand that. All right, so Jeric, you are FA for the Commonwealth. When did this happen?
Well, it's been 5 days.
Gotcha. And who held the position before you?
Well, before me was Julian, and he had to leave due to some real-life issues. Before that was Purple Moon.
Gotcha. Now, the main thing I actually want to ask is I keep hearing that the Commonwealth has internal issues, and I know nothing about it. Can you fill me in on what that might be about?
Well, when the whole Sphinx thing happened, and then Putmer left after the war, it created a little bit of a power vacuum that we're working on fixing.
Gotcha. A power vacuum. So, like, if there's a power vacuum, that probably means there's, like, different sides. Are there, quote, different sides in the Commonwealth right now?
Well, it was basically the election ran down to a 4-time runoff to decide who was going to lead us.
Oh, that's a lot of voting. So who ultimately won?
Well, Right Honorable ended up winning in the end.
Uh-huh. Who did? I'm sorry, my cat was bothering me.
RH or Right Honorable, whichever you want to call him.
Gotcha. And Right Honorable, I think he's been in the Commonwealth for quite a while.
Well, not as long as I have, but yeah.
Yeah, and Jeric, you're probably OG Commonwealth, aren't you? Don't you go back to the beginning with like Judge Justin in them?
No, I was actually in Pantheon before all that.
Okay, yeah, I remember going back to like 2016 and stuff. You were in Pantheon. What made you want to move?
Well, we had a lot of internal conflicts there too, and there was talks of merger with the Commonwealth, and then Fisk came back and basically took power, and a bunch of people that weren't okay with that basically jumped ship.
Gotcha. So, like, I know Krampus interviewed you for Ron, and I read maybe the first half and then skimmed through the second half. Isn't there also some kind of problem between the Commonwealth and Swamp?
No, we're right as rain in that aspect. We're doing all right. Just, basically there was slight communication issues, but we're all back on track.
What were some of these communication issues?
Well, it was more of a lack of due to Julian's real life issues. RH started college, so he's been really busy with that and trying to run the Alliance at the same time. And so we didn't really have a dedicated foreign affairs team. So when Julian basically said, hey, I got to step away, that's when I got appointed.
Yeah, gotcha. So, like, what's the job? I know it's only been 5 days, but what's the job been like? Are you settling in okay? Are you doing well?
Well, first 2 days were a little rough. I appointed myself some assistants, and since then things have been smoothing out a bit. They've been handling my day-to-days while I'm basically talking with other alliances, working with Swamp, allies, communications and whatnot, and basically trying to mend broken fences and attempt to repair what rep we had for foreign affairs under Jeric, and try to get things rolling again.
How do you plan on doing that?
Well,
getting up to where Jeric had things.
I'm a lot more active than a lot of the other foreign affairs people in the past, besides Jeric, of course, and Putmer. He did the best he could with the cards he was given. I don't make backdoor deals. I don't go behind people's backs. I'm quite upfront and honest with everybody. lying is not in my nature, and I just don't do it here.
Be careful with that. I try to be honest too, but it can bite you. Be careful.
The difference between honesty and telling everything is sometimes it's best not to say anything.
Yeah, it is. And, it's probably okay to like hedge information and stuff, but don't be too honest and don't be naive. Those were the mistakes I made back in 2017 when I led KT, and I had a very bad time.
Well, my foreign affairs experience goes way beyond politics and war, so this isn't a new hat for me.
Go into that history some.
Well, 2010, I started playing a lovely game called Cyber Nations, and I joined probably one of the most difficult alliances to do foreign affairs for, the Green Protection Agency, which was 100% neutral if anybody's played. And first 2 years of that, I worked in the academy, and then after that, I did 4 years in the foreign affairs office. And after that, I was president for 2 years of the alliance, and that was a fun time because we had to deal with the whole Doombird incidents, and then NPO doing their stuff, and then I retired from government for a while, took a Senate seat, then came back, ran foreign affairs for a couple more years, then retired again.
Do you enjoy doing it? Being FA?
It's a lot better than doing Milcom.
You don't like Milcom?
No, that's what I did for Pantheon, and it was a nightmare.
What was your experience with that like? What's bad about it?
Well, as soon as we founded Pantheon, we ended up in a war literally within the first month. And that's when Fist decided to basically buy Sia, because he's the one that got us into the war. We got our teeth kicked in. We had a different minister at that time, and right after that war, he said buy Sia as well, and he's still floating around here somewhere. Then they basically just say, hey, you were his assistant. Here you go. Here's the job. It's like, I know nothing.
Yeah, gotcha. So you just didn't know how to like coordinate stuff and get the right information and everything?
Oh, I didn't know crap. And to make it worse, I do most of my work is done from my phone. So trying to do sheets on a cell phone, oh my god.
Oh yeah.
And then
everything about the game is hard on the mobile.
Oh yeah, and then trying to do coordinated sheets and plan attacks, and even blitzing for me is a pain in the butt since update is while I'm at work. So it's basically sneak away, hide in a corner, and try to get attacks in before I get caught.
Yeah, gotcha. So what do you make of? Have you seen the leaks from Shifty about the hedge leaders talking?
That's the first I've seen any of that. Honestly, it's a thing of the past. I try not to dwell on things that have happened in the past. Because all it does is just open wounds that were already basically dealt with. So I don't really see a point in rehashing it now.
Gotcha. Well, what do you think about TSTKR, or Quack as they're called?
I'm indifferent. I don't like them, but at the same time, I don't hate them. I don't really have much workings with them. I mean, the only friend I have on the other side is basically Ben, and we were in the GPA together in Cyber Nations, and there's a few other people that were, originally Pantheon and originally, TCW that have gone over there, but I guess it's not really, it's an indifference, basically.
You said you don't like them. What has caused those feelings of dislike?
Well, it's not like not liking them. It's more of I don't like the way in the manner of which they've conducted certain things. I don't like the shit posting. I don't like the flaming, but that comes from the years in Cyber Nations where flaming would get you kicked out of an alliance. Flaming would get you banned. And seeing it here, it's like a whole different leaf for me, and it's like something to try and get used to. Even after these past 2 years, I'm still not used to it.
Phoenix, Jeric is in the Commonwealth, and he's FA for the Commonwealth. So, Jeric, do you have any opinions on the Oasis KT war?
Good luck to both sides. I mean, The two of their alliances cut ties with us to make the Oasis. I mean, no hard feelings. Good luck to both sides.
I don't know if did KT cut with the Commonwealth. I don't really know about that one.
No, you got the Immortals and who was it? The Immortals and them leaving Swamp. UPN was with us in Covenant, and they left.
Oh yeah, gotcha. Yeah, all right. Well, Jeric, that's kind of about it for me. I was curious to know, what was going on in the Commonwealth, but I understand, just power vacuum, people leaving and changing. I get it. You got anything you want to say? Anything you want to go over?
Well, tomorrow night, Swamp is hosting our little bonfire. We're gonna have a little cookout, make s'mores, tell ghost stories, that sort of stuff. Then in the morning, Hannah's making waffles.
Gotcha. Do you have any real life ghost stories?
Some of them I really don't bear to repeat. A few encounters here and there. The place I live in is pretty sure is haunted.
Well, you can't just say that and then not explain. Can you at least share one kind of story?
Well, when I was younger, I was sleeping in my bed, and somebody walked in my room and covered me up. Next morning, I went to my stepdad and I go, "Did you cover me up last night?" He's like, "No." I go to my mom, "Did you cover me up last night?" She's like, "No." I'm like, "Then who the hell covered me up?" And then once in a while throughout the house, you hear somebody walking up and down the hallway in the middle of the night and nobody be awake. And we had a mirror that was bolted to the wall come off the wall. That was pretty creepy. So yeah, I've experienced some things. I've had a couple brushes with death itself. So it's been an interesting life so far.
Gotcha. If you ever see a ghost, will you try to punch it?
Oh hell no. More along the lines of establishing contact. Yeah, you try to communicate, but most of the time they can't do anything to you. If you actually were to confront a ghost, they're drawing a lot of energy to try to stay corporeal, and they're just gonna dissipate. Most encounters are floating orb type things.
How do you get one to possess you and then kind of merge with it and do cool shit with it?
As far as I can tell, possession is a myth. I haven't read any sort of incidences, unless you follow the Catholic Church and you believe in demonic possession, which I personally am an atheist. I don't believe in any.
See, how do you do stuff like this where you have one like a stand?
Have one like a stand? What do you mean?
Thalmor Radio. You never watched JoJo?
No.
I don't know. I've been wanting to possess me, help me see through stuff, possess other people to read their minds, help me pick locks. I don't know.
You might have a better chance with radioactive waste at that point in time. The whole superhero montage of getting bit by a radioactive insect or something. I don't know. From what I've understood over the years, ghost possession is not a thing. Demonic possession is not a thing. It's the whole concept of we have souls. When you die, the souls just go up into basically an engulfing of the earth. So when people are praying to a god and God answers, chances are it's probably just a dead ancestor.
So you're an atheist, but you believe in contact with ancestors?
Well, because an ancestor is not a divine being. I mean, clearly, we came from something. We go to something when we die. I just don't believe in a divine being.
Okay, gotcha.
Or beings in that aspect.
Yeah. I think that's about it for me, Jeric. Do you have anything else?
Well, basically, we're doing good over in TCW. We're getting things organized. Our allies are doing good. Besides they're dealing with our little raider issues, but who doesn't have raider issues? Other than that, I don't think it's pretty much it.
One more thing.
Yep.
What happens when the nap ends?
I don't know. I mean, we haven't discussed any sort of plans for anything. Like I said, we're basically having a bonfire tomorrow. I mean, we're dealing with a ARG right now. My son is being really loud. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
But yeah, we're basically just dealing with ARG right now. They're not your typical raiders, as everybody's aware. So other than that, pretty much that's it.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeric, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. You guys have a good night. I'm gonna go deal with this toddler.
All right. Well, you have a good night, Jeric. Thank you very much. Arctic or Zig, one of you can mute him if he doesn't leave, and you unmute Phoenix, and I want to talk to him, and then I'll be about ready to end it tonight.
Okay, I'm here.
Hey, Phoenix, how you doing, bud?
I'm okay. My friend's not, but anyway, go ahead.
Can I ask what's up with your friend, if you don't care?
He's dying.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so he needed oxygen, and lucky for him, one of his friends already has oxygen, so he basically needed one of his bottles of oxygen. So I spent the last hour getting that all fixed up. But anyway, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, what I wanted to ask, I mean, do you feel like talking about the game?
Yeah, no, I do.
Okay, so what's your reaction to the SNN leaks? You seem to be really happy with them.
I've been wanting to know that for months, right? And I was stuck. I had nothing else to do because that was the only lead that could lead anywhere. I mean, Quack wasn't going to talk to me. And yeah, so now that we have that and Left Behind did not contradict Tyrion. Like, I mean, I've been a fan of Tyrion forever, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, but it was always like Ronnie thought they were going to go to war, and now Tyrion just said what he's always said. He said, "Yeah, we were planning on defensive treaty. That was when we did it." So obviously, and Left Behind did not say, "Oh, that's not true." So basically, I mean, I guess, what would that be? HM has a hard time, or Ronnie has a hard time admitting that he basically got it wrong a bit, but it's basically that's what happened, right?
So. Here's what I thought. I thought the core of your argument was if we find out who the secret hedge money leader is, and what their intentions were, we can clear up the misunderstanding that led to the global. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, but to be honest, kind of. I mean, I've always said that what was more, but I think we even got the second part. Like, what was way more important than finding out who the HM leader was who did the HM leader talk to? And what it looks like is he talked to basically Tyrion and, like the head people. And what Tyrion is saying is what he's always said. It's like, yeah, we talked to them and we were only talking about a defensive treaty. And if at this point Left Behind said, no, that's not true, then we'd have an argument. But he didn't. He just left it at that. And that's what I said. I said it in the forum. I said, that Left Behind did not contradict him. Ronnie is not saying anything now. I mean, I think we basically got it. Tyrion was being honest from the beginning, right? So, and the other part, which is because Adrian's bringing it up, is like Ronnie's always said the same thing too. He said like, yeah, they did consider maybe attacking Quack or something because Ronnie, and I think part of that is because Ronnie thought that Swamp wanted to attack, which I think at this point is basically being all but proven that wasn't happening. So it was just like a little blip. Like Ronnie and Co, they were thinking, yeah, maybe we should attack Quack or something, and then they did, and then like he said that way back when too. He said, it was a blip, and then they said, no, forget it, and that was it. But the problem with broken telephone effect is you get that little blip, and somebody hears it on the other side, and all of a sudden, they're gonna do some big grand attack and everything, and that's my theory as to how it happened.
So, do you not think that the logs kind of prove what TSTKR were talking about?
Logs prove what? Who was talking about?
TSTKR, their argument was, well, they're all planning to hit us. Let's hit them first.
No,
Do you think?
No, the exact opposite. I mean, it shows. Well, what I think the logs did best of all was corroborate Tyrion's story, because honestly, I think Ronnie's story was already fully corroborated. Like, Ronnie was always saying, look, we had a brief time when we were thinking about doing something against Quack, and then it fizzled out. Because honestly, Ronnie was always saying, like, he would only attack if he had like Swamp and Rose and everybody, right? And Tyrion just said they never had a plan to attack. You know, Rose, I pretty much, I think, said the same thing. So it was never going to happen, right? It was only because of a misinterpretation on Ronnie's part that it even came up as a consideration. And that's probably why it died, because then, you know, like, I think, I don't know, it would be nice if Left Behind would talk a little bit more and say, you know, like what he thought. But based on the fact that he's not contradicting Tyrion, you know, I think that says a lot. There you go. Wow, the Phoenix having a decent argument. Yes. Never forget. But there you go. So anyway, you know what? So now global war is over, whatever, actually over a long time ago. So this thing between KT and Oasis, is it just because KT members rating a lot or something, or what? What's going on?
So this is what happened. Bye-bye. Now I have a fuller picture from talking to Tyrion.
Okay.
So Bye-bye rated the Immortals, right?
Okay.
And the Immortals countered.
Yes.
2 people went in, and all the wars ended. I don't know how they ended, but that's irrelevant.
Right.
But then a 3rd TI member came in after, you know, days late, after all the wars were over, and KT countered that TI member because the circumstances, we all deemed that it was basically a separate issue. Do you follow?
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, but that happened last week. I think all of that happened last week.
I believe so.
So then why? I thought it was all resolved.
Well, what happened is that Bye-Bye declared some more wars.
Okay.
This time, I think maybe on TI, maybe on the Fighting Pacifists, and maybe some of the Oasis members.
Okay.
And I think others slaughtered him.
Okay.
And I believe maybe it was Tyrion went to Dennison about it. Dennison essentially said, "Just fuck off." Is from my understanding, and then that's used as the CB. The argument is you're standing by this guy who won't leave us alone. You condone him, therefore you're all condemned, and then that's why the whole block has hit us.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, do you think they have a bit of a point or what? Like, I'm talking Oasis. I know. I mean, you're on KT, but
I don't know if bringing in the whole block was the right move or not. So there's my point of ultimately it doesn't matter. We like fighting wars. We'll fight it out, whatever. Okay. But I think there's an argument to be had that there was a rush to escalate.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of see this similar to what happened between Swamp and Arg to some extent. I mean, not obviously as much, but it's right. They just, there was some people in Arg that was attacking Swamp, and at some point Swamp just got fed up and said, "Okay, we're all going for you." Right? Similar. What did you say, Tyrion? I can't hear Tyrion. Did he cut out? Or did he cut out? Okay.
What was I've missed like the past 15 seconds. What did you say?
So I'm just saying that it seems like what's happening now is the same as when some members of ARG were attacking Swamp, and Swamp got fed up with them and they attacked back. It doesn't seem right?
There is massive overlap between the two situations. Yes.
Right. But yeah, okay. So I mean, honestly, I mean, so does KT agree that this Bye-Bye guy shouldn't have been attacking all these Swamp members, or is it because because what I'm wondering is it like Bye-Bye was making sure that everybody he attacked was like hadn't been on in a week, or I don't understand what wouldn't it just be easier just jettisoning Bye-Bye and then the issue would die or something? I don't know.
We don't want to jettison Bye-Bye. We think he's a good member.
But if he's attacking people he shouldn't be attacking, I don't think that qualifies as a good member, right? Unless you're a pirate.
But we're KT. That's the difference here.
So, what's the difference? So you're KT. I mean, basically, you guys want to be kind of pirates. Is that the whole thing here?
I don't know what the official policy is, or if there even is one anymore. But
Right.
I think it's just KT just has loose rating policies. So we're not ARG, but
You're not fully. You're like half ARG or something.
I think there's a comparison there. Sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, and it's like you don't like a nap. Yeah. Well, I mean, but at least it looks like. I mean, I think it could easily be said Oasis is pretty reasonable. So if you guys ever want to stop the war, you just have to say, okay, we're gonna tighten up our rules on rating. And there we go. Right. Right.
I think the overall attitude within KT is
Bring it on.
we have a fun war on our hands now.
Yeah. In which case, yeah, I guess. Maybe it'll last. How long do you think it's gonna last?
I'm a Christian, and I believe Christ is coming back someday. But
Okay.
even Christ doesn't know when. He only knows that he is. So similar to that, I do not know how long the war will end. Only that it will end. It will
Right.
probably be the time frame we're talking about is probably months, and it will most likely be longer than what the average Oasis member wants it to be.
Okay. Right. All right. Fair enough.
What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I have no idea. Like I just like the last global war, I was like, I had no idea when. I they didn't even tell. All I heard the general message, right? Like, oh, our allies are at war. That's all I saw in my alliance chat. And like, I'm junior FA. They could have told me something, but anyway, whatever. So.
I'm surprised that you had no idea, that you just found out an hour ago that we were
Yeah,
fighting.
no. All I knew was we were at war, and I to be honest, I didn't ask. Okay, here's the thing. There's one reason I didn't ask. The average Oasis member is involved. Right. Okay, so the average Oasis member, yeah. Well, our alliance is now being kind of told that our allies are at war, and I didn't ask because. So there's this one policy of Soldiers of Liberty I don't like. They have this thing that you can't be a soldier of liberty. You can only be a citizen unless you have 2,000 infra per city. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just seen the damage that pirates and stuff have done. Like, I never even had more than 1,500 infra per city, and I got a lot of damage. And I'm thinking going to 2,000 is nuts for a soldier, but I don't know. That's the way they want to do it. So.
Well, it depends how many cities they have. I think like a good rule is like 100 infra for every city you have.
Right. Yeah, that works. So I have 14 cities. So I was going 1,500 infra, right? At one point I was actually
reasonable.
lower, right? But they're like, no, it's got to be 2,000. I'm like, no. So yeah, that's why I kind of I wasn't happy about that. But anyway, see the issue here, Phoenix. Okay, Bernie's talking. You will have a new. The issue is my alliance that they're with their infra policy. I agree. 2K at 14 is crazy, right? They actually want 2K at like 11. I'm like, what the hell? But anyway.
All right,
Some people do. It's just you get toasted in wars, right? I mean, I think. Goro. Who's Goro?
That's Bye-Bye. That's Goro.
Oh, Majima Goro is Bye-Bye?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What? Majima? What the hell? You're going full pirate, aren't you? Aren't you, Majima? There you go. I'm worse than a pirate. This Majima's dragging you guys into this war, basically, and you guys just want to do it. So, 2K is efficient at City 10. Not in a war, Charlie. It's crazy. Maybe if you're not getting attacked, sure. Yeah, for punishment. Yeah, I agree. Okay.
I think that's about it. I did have a real life topic to cover, but I'm not going to. It's fine. It's not worth talking. I'm ready to just stop and finish Yakuza 7 tonight. So, is final call, politics and war. Anything else I should go over tonight before I end the show? Do real life? Nah, I'll do it next week. It's nothing special. Yakuza 7 is probably on par with Yakuza 0 in terms of quality. I thought that turn-based combat would be a turnoff, but no, they pulled it off really well. And the story is very engaging. I know Latsu, turn-based, but they really pulled it off. It's probably one of the most fun RPGs I've ever played. Well, JRPGs, I should say. Turn-based SIG. Yeah, it's an RPG. I mean, there's classes, leveling, random encounters, like fucking treasure chests. Like it's an RPG. It's an RPG set in 2019 Japan. Nope, it is $50, I believe. Well, like don't play Yakuza 0 first. If you play any Yakuza game, play Yakuza 0. It's $20. It's on all the platforms. I cannot buy it for you, Mr. C. Just find a 20. Walk around Walmart parking lot until you find a 20 laying around. Yeah, Avatar Patrick and Zig will confirm that Yakuza 0 is a lot of fun. Then I'll buy Chick-fil-A with it. That is an equally good use of $20. I will concede, Mr. C. All right. Well, I think that's about it. Before I go, though, because we have a lot of first-time listeners or listeners that haven't tuned in for a while, does anybody want Thalmorite? Which it will make your pretty white name blue, and you'll get pings whenever there's an announcement or a show's about to begin. Zig, you don't count. Mr. C, I'll think about it. Burma wants it. Jane, you can have Thalmorph later. Okay, Prod will finally have it. Nokia, you missed me arguing with Tyrion. That's what you missed. Boomy, I might have called you Burma. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced it though. It's okay. It's in the recording. Okay, Prod and Boomy want to discuss Burma. What's happened? Are we bombing them yet? I don't know anything about Burma besides they had that coup like 2 weeks ago. Biden is probably working on it. Well, it's okay. It's okay if you miss parts of the show. Zig is recording it. I think he's recording the chat as well, so you can see what I'm responding to when I'm talking to Tyrion, because Tyrion didn't voice chat, which is fine. And I think that's it. Gotcha, Zig. Oh, I didn't. Arctic post the pictures. I'll let Arctic post the pictures to the Treaty Web, and then we'll end out the show. But Arctic was fucking around with the Treaty Web, and he made it glitch out really badly. So that's a Treaty Web from Arctic's screen. I don't know how he did it. I couldn't recreate it on my end, but he completely made it spaz out. It is like a mess of rainbows. It's a mess of rainbows. That's the best way. It's like a modern art piece. That's what it is. So I thought maybe the Treaty Web was broken, but I couldn't get it to do it. So I don't know if like the Treaty Web is dependent on like your device's capability and Arctic's computer is dying. I don't know what happened, but this was all right. All right, well, that's it. That's it for tonight. I'm ready to close up shop. I'm going to probably finish Yakuza 7, probably eat, and that's it. Y'all have a good night. Can Arctic or Zig play the theme and also give Zumi and Prod Thalmorite?